Hey, welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. And I also want to welcome back our guest, Ethan Peck, and he's an associate with the Free Enterprise Project. Uh, Welcome back to the show. And before we get talking again, there's so much to talk about. How can people find out more about you?
Okay, so I work for the National Center for Public Policy Research, and we have a program called the Free Enterprise Project, and we're basically shareholder activists. So we go into corporations and we use our voice as shareholders in order to combat some of the woke stuff at the corporate level. So you can go to nationalcenter.org or freeenterpriseproject.org. Both those are good, and you get any resources about becoming a shareholder activist yourself.
And I found it very interesting just to research on what you are doing is when the board members make so many decisions and how they're like one of like the Coke board member has ties to Pfizer and things like that. And you're promoting, if you're a shareholder, you have to go to these annual shareholder meeting and make your voice noted and start making these woke companies not be so woke.
Yeah, absolutely. The CEO of Coca, what you mentioned, the CEO of Coca-Cola, James Quincy, is on the board of Pfizer. The CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, is on the board of Starbucks. The CEO of BlackRock, Larry Fink, is on the board of the World Economic Forum and the Council on Foreign Relations. It's very I can list these names for days. It's very, very incestuous, and they
Yes.
all meet at Davos at the World Economic Forum's annual meeting, and that's where Klaus comes in.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that
So
how they hold one another accountable? So Coke's not going to fail if all of these other people have a say in how they do their business.
absolutely, that's a great point. So I kind of look at it also goes back to BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. This is a little
Yes.
off topic, but it's related. For those who don't know, the biggest shareholders of all, basically every American corporation now, is BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. These big three asset managers, and they have such a controlling, dominant stake in in major corporations that they basically decide who the board members are and what the policies are. I've attended, FEP has attended over 58 shareholder meetings in this past year, and I've never seen a board nominee that was endorsed by the board not be elected. And so that's how much they dominate these elections. So these board members at all these corporations, they're cross corporate. They serve each other. They don't serve the shareholders of their particular corporation. And so basically, because because Target and Walmart have the same shareholders in BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, or Chevron and Exxon, or Microsoft and Apple, or Bank of America and Citibank, and JP Morgan Chase, who are supposed to be competitors, have the same owners and same board members, or
Yeah.
they switch board members. It's all such an incestuous soup. I just basically look at it as one mega conglomerate corporation with one board.
And like you said, they all get together at the World Economic Forum, and then they're making decisions that impact all of us globally.
Hmm. They
So,
can, yeah, go ahead.
so there's little o' us, you know. We
Yeah.
get up, we make our coffee, we go through, we maybe go to your websites and read what's going on. And we put our hope in people like you, Ethan. Like, what can we do? We can have you on our show. We're in a situation where we can do that.
Right.
But you're striking back. You're trying to tell the shareholders, show up, because why suddenly are all the woke people in charge? Like at all these big corporations, you explained it. But what else are you doing to kind of turn this back?
So, right. So I go sometimes to these shareholder meetings, and I'm there by myself. Not only the only shareholder from the right, but for example, I was at the Lincoln Financial shareholder meeting, which is, most people don't know it as a right off their head, but they sponsor the Philadelphia Eagles stadium, like Lincoln Field, and so it's a huge corporation. I was the only one at the shareholder meeting this year, the only shareholder, and so people don't show up. And the way that that a lot of these corporations moved left is because these big institutional investors and smaller activists over time moved it left through the kind of activism that we're doing today. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to inspire, and what the Free Enterprise project is trying to do is trying to inspire sort of grassroots, um, punchback on the right. The same way that the parents in Virginia showed up to the school boards and said, "Hey, you parents, you school board, you guys are doing, you're indoctrinating our kids with our money. We're not going to let you teach them critical race theory. We're not going to let you, sexualize 5-year-old kids with our money. It's, we get to decide." And so what I'm trying to do is inspire the same kind of movement at the shareholder level to go into Coca-Cola, to go into Pfizer, to go into Nike, into Disney, and say, hey, you're using our retirement money to do this. You can't do it anymore. And I think that the right needs to wake up and sort of, it has to be a grassroots movement because that's the only way. We only have power in numbers, not, they have the power from the institution.
And even when you show up to some of these shareholder meetings, you've gotten a little pushback, like, why are you here? And you've had to have some documentation to show them, yes, I belong here, I am a shareholder. I mean, that kind of tells you right there that they don't want you in there.
No, absolutely not. They try to keep me out. They make me show extra layers of proof once I'm in there, and I'm a rightful owner of the company as a shareholder, but they don't look at shareholders as owners because they have redefined the corporation along the lines of Klaus Schwab's recommendation, which is stakeholder capitalism. The people who have a stake in the company are the people who we say has a stake in the company. That's how they look at it.
Do you think that there's kind of a little undercurrent of apathy that's happening where, I have shares in Coca-Cola, but it's through my life insurance policy, or it's through something that I've done at work and I really don't have a hands-on, so I don't know what's going on. I just get the annual report that has a whole bunch of numbers on it.
Exactly. First of all, it's intentionally confusing and convoluted on purpose.
Yes.
And one of the things is a lot of times retirement funds, state pension funds especially, they're invested through BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. So they buy funds in BlackRock or Vanguard or State Street, who then buy Coca-Cola and Pfizer and so on. And so when you own Coca-Cola, you're really owning it through BlackRock. And so then BlackRock votes your shares and you don't get the vote. You don't. So the thing is,
how do we take that back?
Directly, stocks directly, or to talk to whoever is investing your money, and to make sure to put pressure on them, or the best way is to be in charge of your own money and not go through institutional investors, even if it's more expensive to do it that way.
Excellent.
This is a good explanation, though, because all of a sudden, why are all the corporations so woke suddenly? Obviously, they've been working on this for a long time, and they created this situation. And I think everybody thought, well, aren't a lot of these people conservative? And maybe they are. Do you think a majority of the shareholders are conservative?
Shareholders? Oh, well, I don't know. It's like, are the majority of voters conservative? I think probably, yeah. But the majority of the boards, no. Are there individual board members here and there who may think like us and they're just scared and quiet? I think it's rare because I think that so much of the coup of the boards has been taking place for years now, so it's already done. But and the few that are left, they're easily pressured out, and so and they are quiet. So I think that what we need to do is realize that we have power in numbers and show up to these meetings.
Okay, Ethan, because I wanted you to give us some final words of hope, and that sounds pretty hopeful to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're getting listened to?
Definitely people are paying more attention to this. Even myself, I just started with the Free Enterprise Project a year ago. And, it was something that I was starting to be aware of beforehand, but not to the extent that now, working through the Free Enterprise Project, I've gotten to learn. And I definitely think that people are aware of what's going on more so, but there needs to be more education, more activism, and especially we should go right for the top, right for BlackRock and the World Economic Forum, and not hold back.
Well, thank you, Ethan, for what you're doing. You give me hope when you compare this to the school boards, because we are seeing it makes a difference when people become informed and speak out. So thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
And once again,
ladies, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
We didn't even notice. Yeah.
Okay.
We're fine with that.
We're not woke.
Yeah. So definitely check out freeenterpriseproject.com. And when we come back, it's time for the lighter side, and we're going to take a look into the trees. So stay with us.